I've been kind of working with this concept of becoming a 70%er, like mentally being okay with a project at 70% and just
So many people need to hear that.
For
let
sure.
it
So many
go.
people need to hear that.
Because
We
like
clipping that.
because I'm a 100%er.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
so I get burned
too.
out. Projects don't get launched.
Yep.
You know, I wrote an ebook 3 years ago. People will probably might not never see because I'm a 100%er. So I've just been really working on the 70%er. And, you know, it is kind of hypocritical for me to say that to my students, but it's helping me grow. For me to be able to like preach that to them
Sure.
and push them to do it and even see them do it, it's really inspirational for me and it's helping me get more on that wave.
Hey, yo, what's the word? We back at it. We live. Y'all know what we do, man. It's your boy Chase. Got my brother.
Yes, sir. Oso Loso.
We are the Risk Takers. Sponsored to you by Stock the Bar Vodka, Ox 33. And we got another amazing episode for you today. I'll let you introduce yourself. You see who in the middle. Talk to him.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Dee. I'm also known as Dee Forever. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. You guys can also check me out on Instagram at deeforever.co. And I'm an entrepreneur, a content creator, and an educator.
And where are we at today?
We're actually in my spa today. I have a cute little day spa in Grand Rapids, Michigan, conveniently located off 28th Street, so make sure you guys tap in.
All right. Well, you kind of already dug into it, but the first question is always, who are you? Kind of how we got here today. So let the people know, like, why are we here? What made you choose spa and everything else that you do?
Yeah, so I always been into beauty, like ever since a little kid. I remember like in my art class, I used to take the oil crayons and instead of painting on the paper, I would do a full beat and I would get in trouble every single time. And so that's kind of when I learned like, I know I have to do something in beauty, but I didn't know like what. So I went to school for business and I worked in corporate America for a while. And then beauty just kept knocking at my door. So eventually I went part-time at my full-time job. I went to beauty school. I got my SD license. And after kind of like working and doing lashes on the side as a side hustle, I just started making more and more money from doing it. So then I was like, I don't know if I really want to work in the office anymore. So after like taking some time to reflect, I decided I did need to leave corporate America and kind of do my own thing. So I just went full force with my brand, Alluring Artistry, and then I found some other beauty brands that wanted to work alongside me. So that's what kind of birthed the brick and mortar.
Fire. If you don't mind me asking, what area of corporate America were you in?
Yeah, so when I first started, I did real estate for about 5 to 6 years, property management, and then I transitioned into HR. And so that's what I did like the last 6 years of my corporate career was in HR.
Fire. That's dope.
Definition of risk taking for sure.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So when did you know, because I feel like, you know, me as well and a lot of other people out there, we kind of don't know when to transition from working for somebody else into, you know, opening up their own establishment. When did you know that it was time to pull that trigger?
You know, it's something I kind of did simultaneously. Like I built it at the same time. So while I was working, I kind of did this on the side at home. So for me, it was never like I had this big date and like a hardcore like stop. I just kind of took my time and I did what made sense because we have real life we have to maintain.
Sure.
You know, we have dreams that we want to reach for sure, but we got real life to take care of. So I wasn't never in a situation where I could just quit my job and just do it. So I definitely kind of just took my time, built a little bit here and there. But I think the key is just having a plan because when you have a plan, you know where you're going to go. At least you're not just kind of like shooting bullets anywhere and like trying to just catch whatever lands or whatever. But when I did make the decision to like fully walk away from corporate America, that was about 2 years ago now. And what made that decision happen, honestly, it was COVID. When COVID hit, it kind of changed the culture of a lot of things. And then, you know, all the things with George Floyd, too, all of those things psychologically affect any person of color, anybody with a heart. So,
Absolutely.
you know, being in those environments, I just kept learning more about myself and who I really am and, like, who do I want to be. And I'm an intentional being, so I want to, like, live my everyday, like, with intention. And I just felt like, although I loved the opportunities I had, it just wasn't what God wanted me to do. And that's another big point too. Like, it's God's timing.
100%.
So at the end of the day, that's in short. That's how you know when God taps you and says it's time to go. Then it's time to go. And I think sometimes with me, you know, I'm a little more like hard-headed, so I feel like I was backed into a wall. Honestly, I felt like I had to. I felt like it got to a point where I built this so much, and then that was just a lot of tension and a lot of responsibility, and so I did have to choose, you know, both ways. I was serving people. You know, I was helping people with jobs, or here I can help them, you know, with confidence and self-love. So I guess it was just more of a preference decision as well, because I felt like with both things, I was doing good things. So I think either way, it would have worked out.
That's dope.
Yeah, 5 words you said that stuck out to me that I would just want to repeat: God, heart, intention, service, and self-love. Like, those are so key in anything you do in this world. So you hit it right on the head with everything you just said. When you were getting into the brick and mortar, I assuming you were doing things within the beauty area before you went into your own brick and mortar. But as you started to transition into wanting to do brick and mortar, like, what did your days look like? How many hours were you having to put into? Because I think a lot of people think they want things, and then once they, you know, one of our fellow risk takers was on here. He said people don't count the costs, or they do. Then when they get to the checkout line, they decide they don't want it. What kind of work was you putting in to get to this?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And it was unreal. So when I first started like the business, I was selling like strip lashes online. So I would go on live and kind of like in my break at work, I would go on live and try to sell some lashes.
That's dope.
It would just be like any pocket
Hustle.
of time that I could find. Like, I'm going to go on there and show my face and tell them what I got and see like who wants to shop with me. So it kind of started like that, which was, you know, 5-10 hours a week. But then when I started like working from home, I started working at the office, so it would be like a 8 to 5 situation, and then I would work from like, and then he was the one that said silence the phone.
For sure.
Right, I forgot to turn my alarms off. My bad.
So
Block me.
I'm done. So then it was like 8 to 5 at the office, and then like 6 to 11 p.m. lashing. And so that's really what it was. So every day, you know, I would leave the house at 7 a.m. and I wouldn't come home until 11:30 to midnight, and then wake up and do it all over again. And you gotta think at that time, like, I used to oversee like a little team that would help like the employees. So I had like a lot of different responsibilities at my job, and I had a lot of juggling, but that's where the planning comes in. You can do a lot. Like, us as humans, like, you gotta think God created us. So we can definitely do things that we don't know that we can do or believe that we can do. You just have to water it, you know? So staying organized, like, you can do it. I was tired for sure, but I would never be here or have the life I have now or the freedom or the peace I have if I didn't try and like have faith and trust.
Yeah.
Fire. I love that. To backtrack a little bit about your days, how do you stay focused? You know, you did mention freedom and, you know, how you can do pretty much anything you want to in your day. How do you balance when I got to take care of business, or, you know, I want to take today off, I want to take a week off? How do you balance that?
That's still a work in progress. I think, you know, we're human, so we have to give ourselves grace. I like to start my days by doing something nice for me, and I feel like I've been able to stay more disciplined with that. So if that's me going to get Starbucks or running in TJ Maxx or Nordstrom's Rack real quick before I come here, you know, I just like to do something nice for myself. I feel like I could stay concentrated after that. But honestly, I really feel like for me, like right now, my time is split with working in the spa as an esthetician, but also I run the spa, so I'm also leasing to different brands. So that's kind of like one pocket. But then I also own a brand called Dee by Design, which is a business consulting, and then we do like creative solutions. So I basically have business hours for here and then business hours for that, and they're opposite, and I make sure to give myself like a little gap if I do same day. And that's how my scheduler is set up. So I have 2 different systems. They know not to coincide with one another.
Right.
And that kind of is helpful. Also, my other brand is all online coaching, unless I do like a spotlight video on site for someone or something like that. But for the most part, the coaching's online. So that's kind of how my day is split. I think the success of those days is definitely dependent upon my discipline for that day. Like I said, I like to have a lot of grace with myself. After working in corporate America, like if you guys have ever worked in a position where you guys have like deadlines at all times, you meet one deadline, it's no time to celebrate because you have a next one. You know, it just gets like that. And so ever since I got myself out of that environment, I've really been big on like just taking my time. And so I built a really great relationship with my clients. You know, if I'm just really having a bad day like that, they know like if I'm canceling, it has to be something like very serious. But I really do my best to show up. I start my day at noon now because I know like I want to get up. I probably want to work out. I probably want to go do something nice for myself. I probably want to read my Bible. It's things I want to do. Probably want to do my makeup. You know, it's just things I need to do for myself. And I realized taking care of myself helps me take care of like my business and what I have to do lot easier.
Absolutely.
What led you to do a brick and mortar and to then open to other people as well? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, so doing lashes, I actually had a really bad lash extension experience. I went and got them done, and I went on a trip to Miami, and I was in the back of the Uber, and my eye started hurting, and I wiped it, and like all my lashes, my real lashes came off inside of the extensions. Yeah, so not only did the little extension come off, when I looked at it, it was a bunch of little spokes, and all those were my hair follicles is what I was looking at. And I feel like after that experience, it just made me like, I have to like over educate myself on something when I don't have peace with it. Like, I don't know why. I'm one of those people, like, if somebody says a word I have never heard before, I bet you that evening, if you were to grab my phone, I would have 15 tabs open about this word. Like, where did the word come from? Who uses the word? I don't know why. Like, I'm just such a inquisitive person. So I kind of feel like the education at the end of the day.
Do you have a consulting business and a coaching business? Do you have like your own beauty products as well, or?
Yeah, so I do sell strip lashes. I'm actually wearing strip lashes right now. Shop my minks, aalashme.com.
I'm gonna zoom in on here too.
And then we do have a skincare line called AA Skin, and it's turmeric-based skincare. It's not 100% organic because, you know, I'm a firm believer in holistic, but I do believe that in some instances we have to use chemicals. If we want to treat certain things, you know, we can't always use 100% natural. And also for, like, shelf life, you know, if we're investing in products, we can't always do 100% pure. But those are the two lines that I have.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I did have a question about the consulting business. Is that something that you had to brush up on? Did it come from corporate America? Where did that side come from? Where did that passion come from?
Yeah, so I went to business school, and so I feel like I just really love business. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, just always like making things and selling things. So I feel like launching the business, it honestly sprouted from me missing my job. Like, I left my job in corporate, and I was in this space and whole different personalities, whole different people. And I really did need a little more structure, and I really liked giving that structure. And when I thought about my roles, when I worked for different companies, I was always providing some sort of structure. So that's when I was like, okay, like, you know, Lord, how can I, you know, do something with this that's also the right thing for me to do with my life? I'm not really big into like doing a bunch of work for nothing. Like, I want my work to count for something and like lead somewhere. So after praying about it, you know, it was kind of like, you actually need to do consulting because you have this education for a reason. And I put you in these rooms that other people will never be in for a reason, so that you can be their representation and then you can go back and teach them. So then he also told me, like, my focus is going to be startup and like small business. Like, this brand is never going to be targeted to like big brands. It's definitely dedicated to like helping people grow.
Fire.
And to go back to kind of answer about the vision for the spa too, that's kind of where the expansion idea came from, because I just remember like going to every massage parlor, every waxer, like, hey, I do lashes, can I work out of here? Like, it was just so hard trying to open a door and find an opportunity for me to work. So then when I finally got on, I definitely was like, you know what? Like, I want somewhere that's like super nice for people to work. I want it to be super affordable. Like, I don't want people to have to go through as many like hoops that I had to go through, you know, just to get my foot in the door. It was really crazy. And then back then when I started, you know, almost 10 years ago, you know, it wasn't a lot of places, and the places that were here, they knew that. So, you know, you would be paying like $350 a week just to like work to basically pay them. Then where's the profit? How do you grow?
Sure.
So it all came together. You know, Alluring Artistry came. I have the brands in here. Then the consulting business came because honestly, this place I want to be like a revolving door. I want brands. If you want to stay here forever because you love me, like, I'm cool with that. Like, we could definitely kick it and rock out like that. But I actually want you to come here and learn and like go do what I'm doing times 10, times 20, times 50. Like, that's what my dream is.
That's dope. Denzel said one of his biggest passions in life is seeing other people do well. So I will say that I love hearing that. That's dope because I feel like I am that way as well. But to follow up with that, well, being a black woman in coming from corporate America, what were some of the roadblocks you had to go through to get to this point? Because it's not easy. It's being black, especially in corporate America, and then especially opening your own business. Just tell the people what you had to go through to, get this and hold this down.
Yeah. I think I will say that, you know, I did have a lot of support from my last employer. I gave them a lot of transparency. So I wasn't someone that just started slacking off at work and then kind of like dimmed out. You know, I told them straight up, like, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, I know I work full time. I can do the same thing part time. This is how I can do it. You know, I mapped it out for them. I let them know my intention. So I feel like I didn't have to face a lot of riffraff with my employment necessarily. But I would say working in that environment as a black woman, you do have to be like more serious. I feel like they want you to come and be more of like the personality or, you know, more of the entertainment. I don't know if I should say that or not, but it's like
openness.
It's one of those things where you still have to be extremely stern because they kind of play with your top a little bit because, one, you're a woman, so that's one thing. One off the rip in corporate America, if you're a woman, off the rip, it's like you already get less pay. That's been statistically proven. You don't get as much respect, you know, on the teams that you're chosen to lead. You don't get as much respect, especially if it's more male centered. But then on top of that, being a black girl that's articulate, that has bright ideas, that is going to challenge my role. If you're telling me to do something and it's not making sense to me, I'm gonna do a study on this or some sort of trial to show you, like, why am I doing this? Is it busy work? Like, push me. Don't put me in the role and like keep me here. Like, I want to be pushed, challenge me. And I would say, like, as a black woman, that's the challenge, is getting people to understand who you are, but also give you grace to have a personality. You know, like, I feel like that was the biggest thing.
Where did that entrepreneurial spirit come from? Did you have others around you growing up that you saw that you strive to be like, or what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, so I come from like long leadership in like church. And so my family historically always had like churches and always had properties and managing things.
Dope.
So I grew up in that environment. You know, I would go to school a lot and learn things and go home and be like, hey, the software, we could do like this and this and this. So I feel like I kind of just always was in the mix with what my family had going on a little bit, and just kind of seeing them be able to run their businesses. It definitely just was inspirational. I definitely didn't mind going into work. You know, I grew up with a stay-at-home mom, so also there was that, always being around someone that really just could always do what they wanted to do. But I knew when I grew up, I was kind of like, I like that life, but I kind of knew like I kind of want to like work. So I didn't mind working either. So
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Working a job or being an entrepreneur, either way, it's all for the benefit of making an income so you can live a comfortable life. So it doesn't really matter how you get it as long as you get it. That's kind of how I feel about it. But I just feel like just do what's right for you and don't force it. Because I think a lot of people want to be an entrepreneur because social media shows, like, the highlights. Of course, we're going to show you the highlights. We want you to buy into what we have going on, you know. they don't always show like the back end of that. And so, you know, it is easier to walk into an environment and have a list of things to do and get a regular paycheck. It
For
is
sure.
convenient and easier to do that. When you become an entrepreneur, you now have to make that for yourself. So you now have to create this list of things that you have to do to create this income. So like I said, it's doing all the same thing. It's just, are you going to be the mastermind behind it? Or are you going to be like more of an operator and more getting it done?
For sure. Entrepreneur life is definitely tough. I would definitely add to that a little bit. They do not tell you about the days where you like, man, I don't know, maybe going back to work is easier to do. I was talking to Trina, and I was like, man, you know, I just can go get a job again. We can go to Chicago, and she was like, nah, we gonna see this through. So it is dope that to hear that you got a great support system behind you, and it pushed you to where you are right now. So I want to say congrats on that. That's dope, because statistically, we are not a minority in the ownership space.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
very dope.
But I do, even just being here and especially in this area, right? I definitely do experience things. People will come in all the time to even sell something, and I will greet them and they'll be like, well, give it the card to the owner. And it's like, I am the owner.
Right.
Like, I'm the decision maker here. Like, I'm the one you want to talk to. So, I do face like little things like that, but I kind of just consider that, more of like an ignorance thing. And so I kind of just brush it off. I do get pulled over. I drive like a sports car. So being out here and being Black, I get pulled over, several times, and they do make comments, like, well, what are you doing out here? And I tell them, like, I just left my work bag. Like, I'm just, I'm trying to get back home to my side of town. And they'll just be like, well, what are you doing? What do you do? And I'm like, I own a business. And they'll be like, well, good for you. So it is kind of like that coldness sometimes.
Very
but
backhanded sometimes.
I kind of feel like working in corporate, you get a thick skin to that, because especially being Black in leadership, I always had someone that just hated that it was me.
Yep.
It didn't even matter like it was anyone else. It was just that it was me. And so I kind of got more thicker skin to that. It just comes with it. Like the more that you rise to the occasion and the more that you live in who you're supposed to be, the more that people are going to try to come and like affect that and tear it down. Sometimes people don't know that they're doing that. They can't help it.
Yep. Would you say 10-year-old Dee saw this right here?
Yeah, I would. It looked different when I was 10. I thought I was going to own a hair salon called Radiance Salons. I don't know. I still want to do something with that brand, Radiance. I don't know what it's going to be, but I always knew I was going to own a salon. I knew I wasn't going to be a beautician. It was so crazy. I had the concept of like owner and investor as a kid, but I just always knew like I'm going to do something in beauty where like the girlies can come and get cute and feel good. Like I just knew I wanted to have like a safe haven.
Dope.
If you were, so you said you're a coach, what are those things you're telling other people that want to go into entrepreneurship that they should be worried about, or not necessarily worried about, but what are those things you're like, hey, this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen, you need to prepare for these things. What are those things you're telling people?
Yeah, I think a big thing is like personal finances. Like no one really talked to me about like having that more in line. And I came from a scenario where I definitely could have had that more in line if I was thinking about that. But, things work out. So I would say, be really aware of like your personal finances, because when you start your business, all this has to be separate. And so you need to kind of know like what your expenses are and what your flow is if you're going to only depend on this income. So that's the really big thing. But then outside of that is just being realistic with yourself. Like a lot of people are perfectionists. And so I've been kind of working with this concept of becoming a 70%er, like mentally being okay with a project at 70% and just
so many people need to hear that.
For
let
sure.
it go.
So many people need to hear
because,
that.
like,
We clipping that.
because I'm a 100%er.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
so I get burned
Me too.
out. Projects don't get launched.
Yeah.
I wrote an ebook 3 years ago. People will probably might not never see because I'm a 100%er. So I've just been really working on the 70%er. And, it is kind of hypocritical for me to say that to my students, but it's helping me grow, for me to be able to like preach that to them and push them to do it and even see them do it. It's really inspirational for me, and it's helping me get more on that wave.
Shit, I need to hear that.
So I need to hear it too.
Right.
She pointed at me.
I know. I was like, okay.
I got 2 projects on my computer right now, just sitting there.
Sure.
Need to drop.
I wouldn't even say hypocritical, because I do preach this a lot to people that anybody can teach you something, regardless of a billionaire or somebody broke, because you know that a situation or experience or product, you know from experience. So when you tell somebody, hey, don't do this, even though you may be doing, it's coming from a goodwill, because I know I'm struggling. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I wouldn't say that. You know, give yourself a little bit more grace than that. That's my brother's favorite word right there is grace.
It's hard. It's hard when because you got to think to do these things, the level you have to operate at. For this to even come to fruition, the level,
for sure,
of how detailed and how you have everything has to come together. It's really hard to give yourself grace sometimes, because grace didn't get you here. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like a hard thing, but it's definitely something that you have to work on. And I feel like that's why you have to take time for yourself. Like, I feel like as an entrepreneur, taking time for yourself is the grace. Like, I feel like that is the grace, like making sure you could just slow down for a second and just do something for you.
For sure. I can agree with that. I went to my old coworker house last month. My first month off, I quit my job. For anybody who don't know, I quit my job to do this full time now. Not the podcast, but photography, videography. But time for myself, I didn't know what that meant. I feel like every time I was at home, the computer had to be open. I had to be working. I left the crib. I was like, man, that's my first time not working in almost 30 days, bro. He was like, gotta give yourself some time. Gotta give yourself some grace.
Yeah,
so
gotta
for sure.
some grace.
But earlier you talked about like how people want to go back to jobs when they become entrepreneur, and I definitely was there too. Like, I remember I took that first 6 months and I was confident and I felt really good. But I'm not going to lie, like, that first 6 months put me into the slow season for my industry. And so I definitely remember, like, month 8 or so, I was applying. I'm not even going to lie. I definitely applied for a few places. I actually interviewed with some companies that I had previous experience with and other opportunities, and kind of just working my little network. And I almost did go into a leadership position, and the hours were going to be crazy. It was like a 5 a.m. scenario until the release comes. But it was a leadership position. It would have put me a step above where I left in HR. And so I was, and the money was like, this right here, we would have only been here 2 years. I would have built a building. You hear me? Like, it was very, very enticing, but also it was a distraction. It wasn't the right opportunity. And so a lot of times we might think we want to go back to work, but that's actually like God pushing you, like, do you have faith or do you not? And I think in that moment, if I would have went back to work, I would have, because I just left, I would have easily fell back into that mindset again, working that life and that just living that lifestyle. And I'm really happy that it didn't work out, because it kind of pushed me into my own business again. And it kind of made me go back to the drawing board a little bit, because a lot of times as an entrepreneur, you have a plan and the plan still stays the same. Like, that goal is actually the same, but I might have to like remix a few times how I'm about to get there. Yeah.
You know, your faith is clearly very strong. How do you decipher between the voice of the Lord and maybe yourself, or whatever some people want to call the devil? How do you know what's right, what's wrong? How do you know?
I feel like for me, if it's just too convenient, I know it's me. If it just feels too, like, I'm too giddy and I'm just too, like, I just know that that's me. I just know it's me. So I just feel like for me, I just really think about the decision that's at hand, pray about it. You know, if I'm praying and I don't feel anything, I'll reach out to my resources, call my pastor, call one of my friends, you know, do some of my own research. But you just really know when you do that self-work and you get really grounded and you get to know yourself, you know yourself. Like, you know when you're on BS, you know when you're really motivated, you kind of know yourself. So for me, it's a little easier because, like I said, I'm always going to choose the easy way. So of course, when the when the tracks cross, that's how I know.
Crazy.
I always need I think like I personally need a way on like challenge. So I think like I feel like I know as God when it's challenging me versus when it's just like
Here.
Got you.
Fire.
Where do you see yourself? I'm not even gonna put it, 5-10 years, entrepreneur. Where do you see yourself in the next year or two?
In the next year or two, honestly, I see myself stepping away from service here. Like, I'm sad to say, I think that I'll be at a point where I'll be doing my consulting, and I'm also a Midwest influencer. So I've been getting a lot of campaigns and working with different, brands in the city. So that's really taken off for me. So I kind of see myself kind of just stopping in here to say hi to everyone or do a training or clean, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll stay being the cleaner so I can stay grounded, but I don't see myself doing the service, honestly. I see myself stepping away from that.
I was going to ask, do you see yourself taking this into a bigger place? But
yeah, for sure. We just got an apprentice here, so we just got approved through the state for an apprentice. So she just started, and my hope is that she wants to transition into managing, and hopefully that's running well. My other endeavors build, and then I can get us into like a bigger space because I do want to do more of like a destination spa vibe. I'm not gonna lie, like I want that effect. Like I want people to come and be like, people travel from all over even to just come see like the vibe and like the type of spa we have. But that's more, way down the line.
Got you. You think you got all your chips here in Grand Rapids, or do you ever plan on, expanding outside the city?
Oh, for sure, expanding. I'm already like networking in other cities and kind of like put in my little deposits here and there. Anytime I do like a training, I go down to Atlanta, make sure I get cool with the instructor. So when I travel, I could take clients out their space. So I'm already like, working that little area. So definitely for sure, I would love to do some stuff like more on the east side of the state for sure. Definitely like the Atlanta area. And even some more like Tennessee, like kind of like mid areas. Yeah, I got a couple different visions, but it's not all gonna be like the spa. It's all different, ideas.
Dope.
How do you? I mean, he kind of asked earlier, but you just have like you got different businesses and everything. How do you balance all that? Like that's crazy. Like you doing a lot. Like you boss moves for real. So like I'm listening. Like dang, like she consulting, coaching. I'm like. Yeah, that's just. I mean, you ain't even got the answer. That's just incredible. Maybe that's what I'm trying. Yeah, like you got it.
I think like compartmentalizing though, like you just got to get really good at like compartmentalizing. I mean, it starts with your emotions when you get that, and I think that's the most powerful thing for women. Like as soon as you can like really like get to know yourself and hone in on those emotions, a lot of other things clear up for us. I can't say for men. I don't know if I could help y'all like that. But I know for women, like as soon as we can get to control our emotions, we can get to start compartmentalizing things. Like, okay, when I go into this environment, I need to go in this mode. It's not okay for me to do these things or say these things. When I go over here, I just think it's easier when you compartmentalize it. And then, like I said, I put business hours around it. Like, I'm very firm on that. Like, I'm closed on Sundays. Do not ask me to come in. And if you want me to come in, it's a $250 fee on top of the service. So if you want to pay, you can. And people do, because sometimes people are like, well, I have a trip. Like, I don't have a choice, So sometimes you do. But I just think having those boundaries, that's really what it is boundaries and not letting, like, anybody come between them. Like, there's been times where, like, even like Danae, like we would want to go out and I can't, I have to edit a video, or we'll be out and I'm sitting in the car trying to finish editing a video before I can even get my night started, So it's just having those boundaries and sticking to it and just never saying no to getting it done.
What when your name is set in the future, what is that legacy you want behind your name?
That's a really good question. I hope when people say my name in the future, they just view me as a vessel, honestly. I hope they view me as a resource. I hope my legacy is just helpful. That's really my hope. I just want to help people. I feel like, I never understood why I always had these opportunities. I never understood why I got this promotion. I never understood, like, why for me to walk away from it all makes sense now, like, to help other people reach it. And so now that I know my purpose and like what I'm here to do, like that's what I want my legacy to be.
That's dope. You did speak on at some point walking away from this as as being somebody working in here, and then you mentioned influencer, category. How big is it to have a personal brand in this time of business that we in right now?
It's very important. It's kind of odd. Social media kind of created this wave. Foundationally, business was just analytics, numbers, marketing, neighborhood marketing, referral based, and now with social media, it has just caused this riffraff where it's pushing a boundary personally, with people going into your personal life now. So it's odd because before people would go to get their lashes done by you and they love their lashes and that's cool, but now it's like, oh, they leave your appointment and you look at your phone and you got a new follower and 10 likes. And you look at it and it's your client because they like they like the customer service that much that they interpreted it as like, I want more. And because social media makes everything accessible, they just go to like, I want to follow you, like I want to get to know you. So I kind of feel like it's kind of pushing like a boundary, but it is important. It's important to have a professional brand. It's also important to not lose yourself. So for me, like I have a business page and then I have a Dee esthetician, like licensed esthetician page. And that's my personal page that I give to my clients. But then I'm also a Midwest influencer. So I have my Dee Forever page that I'm doing more things that I wouldn't necessarily, it's not that it would hurt that if my clients seen it, but that's not my audience. That's not like my target. It's not, what I'm looking for. And yeah, on my personal page, I do kind of share of my personal life. And I don't want my personal life to become a conversation in service because, I'm still a professional. Right. So there has to be that line.
Was that a big hurdle?
Yeah, it was a big hurdle. And to this day, I'm actually about to have to add to my Facebook because that's like personal, a disclaimer, no offense, I don't add clients because, a lot of people are referring me. They want to add my personal page, but it's like, no, y'all don't need to see my little brothers and my Nana and Papa. Y'all don't need to see what I had for dinner. Like, that's just really none of your business, but I will give you a glimpse of it on this page here. If you want more, follow that page. It's just a lot of redirecting and establishing yourself. Like, what do you want those pockets to look like? Because a lot of people put it all into one and that works. But I'm versatile. I'm a versatile shorty, so I can't put everything into one thing. I kind of have to have niche pages, essentially.
That's valid.
How much of yourself, like, what is that line for you as far as building a brand? Because you do need to have a little bit of your personal self in there. So how important is that, and how did you kind of discover for yourself what that line was that you want to give people?
I think writing the trends for my professional page, like my professional me page or whatever. I think writing trends is just a safe thing because it's a trend and everyone's doing it. So if it's a trend that's actually a song I like, I'm going to do that trend because it's like, that's the song I actually like, so I'm really feeling it, but also it's within the trend, so no one's going to look at it like I'm doing something like too outlandish. So that's kind of how I balance it. And then with like my personal one, I use my close friends a lot for things that I just want to say. Like I'm a highly opinionated person, and so that does get me in trouble a lot. Like I'm very opinionated and I have a strong personality type, so I do feel like I definitely have to like protect that and guard that. So just having a close friends. And then, of course, like I probably shouldn't say this either, but I do have a burner social media. I do have a burner.
Kevin Durant out here.
I definitely have a burner social media account where I can just make status. I can just do anything I want to do. And, if somebody discovers it, they just get blocked, and that's that.
Yeah.
Talk about branding in itself for you. What do you think the big major keys are for anybody trying to start that personal brand?
I think you need to become predictable. That's the biggest part of a personal brand. People need to know like what to expect when it comes to you. I think my friends and my audience, like if you were to ask them like what would they say about me, I think it would kind of all be like similar. Like she's funny, she's fun, she's entertaining, she's sweet, she loves beauty. Like those are like kind of like keywords. You gotta think about like keywords or like hashtags online with a personal brand. You got to think about like, what is that for you? Like what are your hashtags that you wear on your sleeve every day? And I feel like that would be like a really good start, because if you don't have that established, you're just going to either fall into doing trends and never find yourself, or you're just going to keep like pulling at nothing. And if you're not really like good at analytics or studying or A/B testing, if you don't really know that back end of like how to even use the data to grow, it's gonna be really hard to do a personal brand without establishing yourself, like what you want. So I would say don't let other people choose it for you. You need to choose like what you want to do, and then put it out there. And people may tweak it, but at least you started from somewhere, and it wasn't just made up from them.
Right.
You know, your brand definitely has to come from you and your heart, and it has to be enticing and have like your personal swag.
Anything you want to say in closing?
Incredible.
Incredible interview.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Powerful, incredible. Yeah.
For sure.
Fire.
Every episode is sponsored by Stock the Bar Vodka, and every episode we do gift our risk taker on the episode a bottle of vodka from our sponsor. If you decide to get a bottle out there, 21 and up, please drink responsibly. Where you
like to
favorite
get it
place?
from?
I like to get it from AC Hotel. Where you like to get it from?
Same place, brother. With the
Mixed with
lemonade.
what? Lemonade. Come on, man.
How many times distilled?
7.
7 of them.
So this is a Michigan brand?
Yes.
African American owned Michigan
Okay,
brand.
very
Yep,
nice.
from Grand Rapids.
Yes,
First
shout out
vodka
Mr.
company
Daryl
to be
Reese.
open in Grand Rapids, Michigan in history
Yes,
of
sir.
time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I just met Deborah.
No, Deborah.
I just met her. We were on a board for something. I literally
Okay.
just met her.
Fire.
So, hey girl, I finally got some.
How we like to close it out, man?
In closing, we always like to ask the risk taker of the show to highlight some of the risk takers that they think should be on the show. Other people that you think are big influences to any business. It doesn't matter. They can be here. They can be out of state. It doesn't matter. We travel to them. So just holler at some names you think deserve to be highlighted as a risk taker.
Okay, first I'm gonna shout out It's Your Girl P on Instagram. That's my cousin Paris. She is doing her thing down in Atlanta. She's interviewing celebs, hosting events, and she has a podcast. So I honestly definitely think you guys should link and let me be a part of the crew.
For sure. We coming to the A real soon, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
Yes. I'm trying to think here locally. There's a lot of risk takers. It's a lot of people doing
Line them
their
up.
thing right now.
Give us one more, one strong one.
Give us 2 more.
Two more.
Okay, let me see. Locally.
We can do one more local, then somewhere it can be anywhere in the States.
Okay. And you said someone who helps a business?
Just a risk
Anybody
taker.
that you think is a risk taker.
Yep.
I'm going to go with my girl, Rachel. She's really doing her thing, Rachel Parker. She transitioned into being an actress, and she's doing social media and stuff now. She has films, like, on almost every app now.
Wow.
She's been starring in a lot of things. So I see you, girl. I love what you're doing. Definitely want to shout her out.
Where's she
Rachel
based out
Parker.
of?
She's out of here, but she,
Okay.
she does a lot of work in like Chicago, New York,
Okay.
and she travels all over all the time. Love it. And I guess if I had to choose one more risk taker anywhere, I'm gonna shout out my graphic designer. His name is Omar. He's from Puerto Rico.
Shout out Omar.
Shout out
It's
Omar.
Graphics by Omar. You know, he built my logo for my YouTube channel, Dee Forever, and also for the brand here, Alluring Artistry. I haven't worked with him for a while, but he's definitely doing his thing. He's working with bigger and bigger people, and I just love to see it because when I met him, he was doing like quick YouTube edits for $15. You know what I'm saying?
Fire.
And now, you know, he could do a whole website suite. You know, it might have a comma in it, but, you know, he could get you right.
I got one more question, seeing as how you just brought up pay. How did you decide what was the right price for your services?
Yeah, so
Great question.
I did like a lot of market analysis. Just kind of looking at my competitors. I always look at like some key places like Detroit. I also compare to Atlanta and then Chicago. That's kind of like the cities that when I'm looking at pricing, I kind of make sure I'm comparable. So that's kind of how it was when I first started off before I did like more learning into how to actually price. And so how to actually price is taking your rate of what you pay yourself hourly and then adding in the cost of the supplies. So that's the formula like I use now, like my hourly rate plus supplies. But at first it was just definitely just trying to be competitive because that's the name of the game. And if you're really good and you want to make some money, undercut the market, take all the clients and put your prices back up. Like
Fire.
Type beat.
Real
Type
business
beat.
right there.
For sure. Real business for sure.
Yeah.
Closing it out.
That's on you, bro.
All right, man. It's been another episode of the Risk Takers, and who we got right here?
Dee Forever.
And where are we? Where are we?
I thought you said, what are we?
No,
I was
no,
like, I don't know
my
that part. We're at Alluring Artistry Beauty and Wellness Spa.
Absolutely.
Tell them one more time where they can find you at.
They can find me at aalashme.com, and I'm located at 6140 28th Street.
Everything will be linked below in the description.
Real boss moves right here, man. Okay, let's go.
And it's the Risk Takers, and we out.
Out.
Fire.